it's crazy to think back, though, over the year at all the different things that God has done through Village Church, which make it clear to me that he's still doing amazing things through our church, and why I'm pumped for what's coming next in 2023, 2024, because of so many cool things that have happened this year. Yeah, so my role totally changed quickly near the beginning of the year. I was put into the interim senior lead position as Mark stepped away, and that was fun and crazy and busy and exciting. And then as the year progressed, we went through some processes and figured out our leadership model, and we're gonna have 2 senior lead pastors of Village Church going forward. And I was selected to be one of those, and we did a whole process with it, which was crazy and very detailed, and came up through that. And so here I am. I'm the new senior pastor of ministries and staff at Village Church going forward, and I'm super excited about it. Freedom Sunday, for example, was crazy. This was back in February, and we essentially had this partnership with IJM, International Justice Mission, and they need people to be able to step up and sponsor the work ongoing, monthly, annually. We call them Freedom Partners, so that they can do the incredible work they do of rescuing people from slavery, from trafficking, all this kind of stuff all over the world. Big partner of ours, super, super important work. So we did this Sunday where we got up. I took the stage with Caitlin, our global impact director, and Anu, who is this incredible leader of IJM Canada and has done so much incredible work around the world freeing people from slavery. And we basically just said to the church, we need to get behind this and we need you to support this. We need to be the kind of church that's going to set the tone, even in Canada, for other churches. We were blown away by the response. It blew IJM away. Our church became the story for IJM, even internationally, amongst their teams and their staff, because of what happened that Sunday with so many people, not just making like a one-time donation, but saying, I'm going to become a partner with IJM going forward. It was just unreal to see. It just says to me that we are the kind of church that's going to be in the world making a difference in practical stuff to make the world a better place. Something I think is just critical. Like, I don't think Village Church can go forward into the future without taking really seriously, is culture going to look at us and say, they're actually making a difference in real things in the world that need to be fixed and solved? A couple cool little stories about the impact of that. Like, we were posting clips from that Sunday of the kind of work we were talking about and really compelling people to get involved. And we had millions of views. These are some of the most viewed clips we've ever posted on our church platforms. We got the opportunity to go and be a part of IJM's annual gathering a little bit later in the spring. And even at that, they were reporting incredible wins in specific areas of the world that Village Church has been partnering with IJM in. We were like, sitting there basically, tears streaming down our face, listening to them, standing ovations of thousands of people talking about reports of work and wins of people from slavery and changing systems and these areas around the world that we are personally and specifically involved in as a church. The potential for impact and the potential as a witness into the world is just, I think, almost unlimited in this kind of work. Okay, Easter. So Easter was this amazing project overall. It really gets to the heart of, I think, what we're about at Village Church. So people probably don't know, a lot of work goes into the process creatively around all this kind of stuff. So they might just see something like Easter or a series or whatever and think, oh, that looks nice or whatever. So for example, with Easter, it was a super fun project. We took an inspiration from old, ancient, kind of Gothic cathedral buildings, and we said, what if we were to mash that up with super futuristic, kind of hyper digital media stuff? So we had this thing, and then the team created this amazing set, which was this like living digital LED giant stained glass windows like in a cathedral. And it was really cool because they programmed everything so that the windows themselves would change and adapt and have different media in them all the time. What it says to me about our church and what we're all about, we're never gonna stop wanting to be innovative and creative. We're not just gonna go, hey, it's Easter, let's just do the easy thing, it's simple and whatever it happens to. We're always going to want to push ourselves, and I love this about our teams. We're always going to want to push ourselves to say, what can we do that is more creative and more interesting than the last time? Why? because we want people to notice. We want people out in culture in the world to go, what on earth are they doing? What are they even talking about? And be drawn into, in a really compelling way, all the stuff that's important, like Easter, about the gospel and Jesus' death on the cross and his resurrection and the hope that has for us. How can we tell that story in a way that just grabs people, smacks them in a way that you go, I've never heard it told like this, or I've never seen it told like this. That's really what we're all about. I never want that to die here. We have amazing teams, and I don't know, Easter was just a super fun project to work on. Yeah, so I'm very excited, passionate about what we're doing with youth ministry here at Village Church. And in the summer, we had youth camps, and they were super successful. So many stories about how kids were going deeper in their faith, making great connections, really good engagement level. And to me, those camps are just a little picture, a microcosm of what's growing in our church in a bigger way at youth ministry in general. We're seeing kids connecting into our youth groups in ways they haven't before, in numbers they haven't before, leaders being developed. And to me, I think this is just one of the really exciting things about where we're going. We have to invest in student ministries. They're the next generation, and frankly, they're dealing with crazy stuff. And we're going to have to equip and disciple them to be able to walk through life well right now. It's tough being a student. I think as Village Church, we have a major responsibility to do that well. And I think we are, and I think we're equipped to. So I'm just really excited to see how that's going to keep growing going forward. Another cool little story about this is how our church, I think, is even eager to see this grow. I think our church cares a lot about our students. And one example of this was there were students who couldn't afford to go, like their families just couldn't afford to do the camp. And I think it was 12 or something students. And they just got up on a Sunday and said, hey, it would be great if we could just help some people out. Boom, that morning on Sunday, people in the church just stepped up and said, okay, we'll just donate. We'll make sure all these kids can go. And all those kids, all the students that wanted to go were able to go to the youth camp. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. Baptism tells me that person has actually made a decision in their life that they are going to follow Christ. And maybe they made a first-time decision about that previously to that moment of deciding to be baptized. And maybe they made it really recently before that. Every baptism, someone in their mind and in their heart is going, I need to do something differently from this point forward, and I need to take some step of faith and obedience. And so to me, I love seeing people being baptized at Village Church because it says our church is being used by God to actually change lives. People are actually giving their lives to Christ in a new way that they weren't before. We've had over 100 baptisms this year at Village Church and across all of our different sites. I think all of our sites, all of our locations across the country have had baptisms, which is really, really cool. In a year where people are coming back from COVID, in a year where we've had a lot of change, in a year where, people might go look around at churches all around the country and all around the world and go, man, churches are struggling right now generally. For us to go, we've had over 100 people get baptized this year across all these cities. I think it's amazing. I think that God is doing something really unique, even this year through Village Church and how he's bringing people to himself. That gets me excited about where we're going. We're never going to stop doing that. We're never going to stop pointing people to Jesus, pointing people to Christ, and confronting them with the fact they need to give their life to him. Okay, so our fall series, which we called You Are Not a Glitch, we affectionately refer to it just as Glitch. This was a really cool series for me, and I think gets at the heart of something really important for us in our DNA as Village Church. We say gospel, community, and culture, kind of our three things for Village Church. And for me, what the Glitch series did was we addressed a topic which was basically something all of us are dealing with. How are we navigating the digital world in a way that's going to be healthy, biblical? How does a Christian live in this? Like, what do we even have to be aware of? Because all this stuff is so new and it's so all-consuming. It's like, where's the church's voice in something like this to say we need to speak into and equip people on how they're going to navigate and walk through a digital reality? I think that's really cool because it's super innovative. I had lots of other pastors from churches and things saying, man, churches are not talking about this, and it's really cool you guys are doing a series about this. I think the other thing is it really, I think for all of us, it sort of showed us the quality we have in our preaching team. This is a whole nother story this year. I mean, just thinking about, we've got a preaching team who were thrown into you're going to preach every week now, guys. And they have just knocked it out of the park. I've talked to probably countless people in our church who come to me and just say, man, I'm loving what we are getting from the preaching team. And I think that series in particular was great. They did such a good job. They were all on point. And we've sort of seen them continue to develop out of that, even through the fall. I think we're all grateful for that. But that's been a huge thing when I think about big highlights of 2022 is just that development and growth in our preaching team and doing things like this Glitch series where it was invitable, it was all these things, and I think they knocked it out of the park. So I'm proud of them for that, and I'm proud of us as a church that we're tackling these sorts of things. So in October, we launched an online classes platform called Workshop, where people can go online and we have a whole roster of classes, materials, group study materials, all this kind of stuff, and it's been great. We have had an amazing amount of engagement on it so far, actually, and which is great. We're not even pushing that so much right now. We're kind of trying to make sure we get the setup right, the classes right, the format right, the pieces of it. But seeing so much engagement early is really encouraging. But here's what I'm excited about most about that platform. It's not just the classes, because we've got great teachers from all over the world that we're having do classes for this, and people from our own church. It's that we're in a sense trying to trailblaze a way of discipling our church. And this isn't going to be the whole thing, but what it points to is how can we innovatively disciple and reach people, teach them, connect them in ways that integrate in-person meetings, digital space, online. How do we eliminate some of the lines between these things so that we're discipling our church in the way that everyone kind of just lives their life, which is sometimes they go and do things in person, and sometimes they go and do things online. Sometimes they use apps, sometimes they use YouTube, sometimes they listen to something in person, they talk to people. And that's what we're trying to do here. We have already people who can join online to connect with people, to watch classes streamed if they want, and then discuss them in Zoom groups. Community groups that I've talked to who just meet physically in someone's living room, but they've decided we're going to go through essential doctrines as a group, or the Job book, or something like this. And then there are other people who just literally aren't connected to church at all, who have questions about Christianity. They want to understand it. And so it's a great front door kind of portal for them to go, here I can go with low pressure, and I could just at my own pace learn the doctrines of what Christianity is all about, or these different spiritual classes or so. I think the potential for this is huge, and I'm really excited we got to launch it this fall. And I think it's again this picture of where we're going as a church and how we're going to be able to be really innovative about people's discipleship development, education, plugging people in, and even answering skeptic questions. Taking time to just think back on some of these little things that just stand out gives me just so much hope for what he's doing here and going forward.